How's it going? And welcome back to another Pokemon Unite video here on YouTube. Today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. This is going to be a first in a series of videos that I'm going to be putting out over the next, let's not give it a time frame until I cover all of the topics that I have good ideas to cover in what I'm going to call a Pokemon Unite 101 series. So today I'm going to be talking about Pokemon Unite jargon, which for people that aren't familiar with the term jargon, it means technical language that's usually specific to a given industry or thing. So basically, the goal of today is going to be to talk about and give examples of Unite slash MOBA specific language you will hear myself and my teammates use, or other creators and Pokemon Unite players use when you're watching them play the game. So let's just go ahead and jump on into it, shall we? So start with is leash. So this is what we say when an objective starts to heal itself back up after you've either not attacked it for a little while, or in the case of something like Dreadnought, it's pulled too far away from its starting point. So have you ever noticed that when you're attacking the Dreadnought a bunch, if it walks too far away from where it's originally spawned, even if you keep attacking it, it'll walk back to where it originally spawned and heal itself back up to full while doing so. So you'll frequently hear us say, well, the Dreadnought is leashing, so it's fine. We don't have to get in there. It's not going to die anytime soon. Or one that's very common that you wish you could scream to your solo queue opponents is, we're ahead. Let the Zapdos leash. Stop hitting it. The next term is int, which was originally, my understanding, was coined from the term intentionally feeding, which meant your teammate or you would intentionally throw themselves into the opposing team and feed them. However, the language has kind of evolved around this to simply mean a person is kind of in the wrong position to the detriment of their team. So you'll often hear people say something like, oh, I inted by going to the wrong part of the map. I was meaning they were out of position. Or, you know, again, to point to solo queue, you'll say, oh, the Gibble just keeps inting, chat. All Gibble wants to do is fight, but it can't kill yet. It's only a Gibble. Dear Gibble, please stop inting, Gibble. You can't fight them on their point. Next up, CC, which directly stands for crowd control. This is used in reference to attacks that Pokemon will have that will either stun or reposition or freeze opposing Pokemon for a short amount of time. Snorlax CCs with its Heavy Slam. Wigglytuff Sleep is an example of CC. Ninetales passive, or things like Dazzling, Greymar CC. There's a lot of boosted attacks in the game that slow people down when you hit with them as a form of CC. And CC is directly related to our next jargon term here, which is zone. Zone is a specific type of crowd control that has to deal with controlling where the opposing Pokemon are or where they're allowed to be. So you'll frequently hear this used when talking about trying to secure objectives. So you'll frequently hear me tell, you know, the Snorlax or the Blastoise on our team, hey, go zone while we try and finish the objective, which means that Pokemon with CC is going to move away from our team in the direction of where the opposing team is going to be coming from, and it's going to try and keep those Pokemon from getting to us. So Blastoise with Surf is good at zoning, Snorlax with Block is good at zoning, things of that nature. Up next, we have back cap. So backcapping is when you're going to have one or more players try to score points while the rest of your team runs the distraction. The most common use of backcapping is when you have a close game heading into the Zapdos, and you'll generally have 3 to 4 members of your team stay in the middle to stop the opposing team from ripping the Zapdos, while 1 or 2 of your teammates with Score Shield run to try and put up, 100 caps to take that close game and put you into the lead, so you don't need to full rip the Zapdos to be in and ahead. Up next, we have something that's critically important in Pokemon Unite, which is the food/farm. These are the non-objective neutral Pokemon that you knock out for both Eos energy for points as well as collecting valuable experience. There's a number of specific Pokemon that spawn at different parts, such as the Vespa Queen and the Combees that spawn top and bottom around 850. There are the Dinos or Audinos that spawn middle and then sides on the bottom. And then there are the back crabs, which are actually lobsters, but I don't know who started calling them back crabs, but I always refer to them as back crabs that spawn back over here around the 9-minute mark, slightly before the bees. There's also center crabs that spawn here in the Zapdos pit, and then there's a specific type of dinos, which we generally refer to as side dinos or top and bottom dinos, and these are the farm spawns that happen up top back here or down over here after you lose your outside point. So you'll often hear me say, for example, after we finish the Dreadnought at the bottom, if the opposing team has broken our top point, we'll send someone up to clear the top dinos. These dinos notably are 60-second respawn timers, so making sure to clear those efficiently so you can get them back is usually pretty important in the macro sense of things. Anywho, speaking of farm and securing farm, our next piece of jargon is last hitting. So last hitting refers to getting the final knockout blow on whatever piece of farm you are currently attacking. This is valuable because only the Pokemon to get that last hit gets the Eos energy and, more important, the experience from knocking out that Pokemon. So one of the more skill testing things is contested farms, such as those dinos in the middle that spawn where both teams are going to be going after it and trying to get that last hit. Also, objectives. Last hitting is huge with objectives in the game. Getting the final hit on Dreadnought for your team or Zapdos can be the difference between winning or losing the game in a lot of cases. Speaking of farm, the jungle is a special area where things farm in Unite. The jungle specifically is these areas to the left and right of the Zapdos pit where your Buffalo and Ludicolo spawn, as well as some crabs in here. Those level 4 Pokemon notably give you a buff afterwards that do different things for you. Typically, one Pokemon on each team is going to be referred to as the Jungler, and they are the Pokemon that goes in to clear those before showing up to lane eventually for the bees. Now, farm leads us into our next term, which is A/B button. You usually hear me say the word gamers followed by saying A or B button. And what this refers to is the advanced control setting that Pokemon Unite lets you define, where pressing A and pressing B has your character focus on different targets with its auto attacks. This is especially useful for ranged attackers in Pokemon Unite, especially when you're contesting food, because if you're trying to get the last hit, you want to be pressing B to try and send your auto attacks towards the target that you're looking to secure. And if you want to ignore the neutral farm in the area and attack the opponents directly because they're low before you finish off whatever you're attacking, pressing A will direct your attacks in that direction. You'll often hear me calling out A or B button gamers inside of team fights around objectives. For example, the Dreadnought is high enough and there's a Talonflame coming in, so we want to be A button gamers and kill this Talonflame before we try and secure the objective. The opposite can also be true. The Zapdos is low, the enemy team's coming in, we want to be B button gamers and just give ourselves the best chance to secure this objective with the last hit by all of us pressing B and attacking it. Next up, we have the term Flash. This is a translation direct from League of Legends, where people just refer to the battle item eject button as Flash because the item that does that, where it jumps you a little bit instantaneously in League of Legends, is called Flash. Then we have diving/sieging, which just refers to attacking your opponents on their goal zone or base. Usually this is something you want to avoid doing early, but for example, you'll frequently hear me call out, okay, after this Dreadnought that we won, we're going to go ahead and dive their point so we can go ahead and break it so that way they don't have that point for the next Dreadnought. Speaking of Dreadnought, something that you wish your solo queue opponents would do quite frequently is rotate. Rotating in Pokemon Unite refers to changing which side of the map that you're on. So if you're up top and you want to go down to the Dreadnought, so you rotate down. If you're at the bottom after that Dreadnought finishes, you want to go up and do those top dinos because your point is broken, you're rotating to the top. Finally, we have the term RIP, speaking of Dreadnoughts. So RIP in this context refers to just putting all of your focus on killing whatever the objective is. So, we'll say, okay, the Talonflame is down. We've got 10 seconds before it respawns and has a good chance to smite. Let's rip the Zapdos and try and get this game over with. Or, Dreadnought is going to be despawning because Zapdos is coming. Everybody get down there and rip it after you rotate to it. What do you think of my definitions here? What did you think of the non-gameplay content here on the channel? Well, obviously, I don't think we're going to do non-gameplay content like this every single day. I do think there's a number of topics like this that I think can be good to teach people some of the basics of Unite, whether it's more definition stuff like this, or say something that my next guide is going to be, I think, is general macro strategies for farming through the early to mid game. I think is something a lot of newer players struggle with, knowing not only where farm spawns, but also which farm they should be prioritizing in which orders when they spawn simultaneously. Are there topics that you would like to see me cover in this Pokemon Unite 101 series? Let me know in the comment section down below, and we can consider them for videos in the future. At any rate, thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with another Pokemon Unite highlight video here on YouTube. Looking forward to hopefully getting a balanced patch on Wednesday. I know there was a little bit of doom and gloom in the community because the season rolled over today on Sunday when I'm recording this, and we just got some new costumes. We didn't get any bug fixes or balance patches, but one thing to note is they did always tell us that the pumpkin stuff was going to be available until the 10th, which is this coming Wednesday, which I think implies that we're probably going to get the typical Wednesday patch. I was actually going to be a little bit surprised if we saw a patch on Sunday today, because it's a little bit out of cycle for what we've seen historically speaking for them. So don't doom and gloom. If you're not into the current greedent situation, just take a couple days off, take a deep breath, and hopefully we're going to get some good news in terms of balance on Wednesday. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow, folks.